Okay, how to make a polymer slingshot so that you can have the same design and the same exact slingshot over and over and over again without mistakes. First thing you'll need to do is make templates. I made these out of G10. These are a little over a 1/4 inch thick. You can make them out of various materials, acrylics, all types of different materials work, and you can also cut and use all different types of things other than polymer with the same technique here. You can make it out of plywood. You can make them out of acrylic, out of Lexan, lots of different things. All right. First of all, you simply line up your templates. You want to get the maximum amount of board usage, so you line your templates up. And as you see, I have a lot of different types of slingshots, and I already made some already too. So you want to get the maximum use. This is a 2-foot piece of board right here by 6 inches. I start with a large piece and I cut it down usually to 6 inches like this, and it gives you the amount of space you need to work comfortably with. Alright, next you take a drill. I use a what is that, 3/32? Yeah, 3/32 bit on there, and screws like this. These are plain wood screws, but the plain wood screws I use, I chop the tips off of them so that they won't penetrate all the way through. Alright, with this, you line it up. Then you can either use a drill, a screw gun, whatever you want. Take these, line them up on there. For the larger hole, you use a little washer like that so that it'll fill out better. Alright, then you do the same thing for all of the templates, because each of these templates acts as a jig. This is all fastened to the board, fixed to the board real well so it won't wiggle and won't move at all. Then you're going to want to come back and you're going to cut all these pieces out individually. You'll notice there's a small gap between each slingshot, so therefore you have to have a thin blade. I can use either a bandsaw, a jigsaw, even a coping saw if you're going to do this all manually. And what I'm going to do today, though, is I'm going to use a blade runner. Blade runner is one of my favorite little in-between type tools. I'm going to be using a Bosch 244D scroll saw type blade on here. Scrolling blade. I'm going to put that in there, make sure it's in there nice and tight. I'm going to wear eye protection, hearing protection, and gloves, because this can, if it gets on there and cut your hands up, that'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? So anyway, eye protection, hearing protection, and gloves. If you're doing an abrasive material like with something with glass fiber in it or something like a G10, you will use, of course, a carbide blade, and then and you of course would need to wear breathing protection as well. Okay, I'm going to turn a fan on here. That'll blow all the particles away as they're being accumulated and made. Okay, now once they're all cut out to where they're fairly, in the gross cut out, then you'll come back and you'll trim this in close. Then of course you do that for all of your pieces. If you're doing just one, of course you'll just stop there and then go to the next stage. Okay, and then after you get them all cut out and then the holes drilled in them, you'll notice there's a little gap in the hole there as well. There's a little bit all the way around the whole slingshot. So what you'll do then is you'll put a flush trim router bit on here. I like to use spiral bits, and you want to make sure that the template, this template right here, acts as a jig and rides on the bearings. And the cutting part is right there. It's on the part that needs to be cut. But this hard part right here will ride on the bearings, and it will not go past that then if you've got this on the bearing part here then. Okay? Now there's different types of flush cut router bits you can use. You can use spiral cut bits, you can use the straight bits. There's all types of different ones. Okay, now it's time to route this out. You want to use a flush trim router like that, bit like I said, and it's here. Now set that there, turn your fan on, make sure you blow everything away. Let me zoom this in a little bit so you can see a little better. Hearing protection's a must. Gloves are a must. Eye protection a must. Then you take it, your piece here that you just did that with, and you rub your finger along it to make sure that it is all exactly to the template, to the jig. Let me pull this out a little bit. So that it's all exactly flush to the jig. Everything feels perfect. This one's ready to go then for the next stage then. Okay, and the next stage of course is to take the templates off of the polymer. Pretty simple, obviously. And of course you do that with all the pieces. I have about 7 of them here and a few more over there. Take your piece over to the drill press. And where the pre-made holes are, 1/4" bit. Then double check those to make sure that those are flat, and as you see as you drill through them, that makes them to where they're not quite flat. Alright. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is you want to get your next bit out. The next bit is going to be this one. This is the one I use to make grooves with because it makes a nice round over, and then it also makes it just deep enough for the grooves for the bands to sit in. Set this up. Notice this box right here. This is the one I use for polymer stuff. I also have another one for G10, another one for wood, another one for acrylics. Alright, set that up. Make sure it's nice and tight in there. And you line up that groove on there properly. And you lock it all down. Then you take your slingshot, make sure again that it doesn't have anything that's protruding on it. Set it up, turn your fan on. And that gives you a proper little groove here. That makes the groove where it has a nice round over on it. And it's deep enough already. Then of course you'll come back and do the next side here. Quarter-inch bit, you make sure it fits exactly right. Both sides. Then you take your slingshot. And that gives you a first round over. And you're all set up. Everything's locked in. Now on these right here, this part has already got the proper round over. This part needs to be more rounded over though for where you grip it. It's a bit more comfortable. And as you see, the round over on that, it's pretty good. Still a little bit rough because it needs to go through another 2 steps before the thing's completed. But even right now, it's almost usable. All it has to do is just have this slot cut right here, and it'll be almost usable as a slingshot. Okay, now I need to cut the slots so the bands can be tied so they'll go around the fork. Put them in there and move it around a little bit so that you can make it kind of smooth on the edges, and that's what I did there. The next step is final shaping. You want to make this your slingshot so that it actually feels good in the hand. I mean, it doesn't feel bad now, but it would feel a lot better with this part dished out a little bit, and if you have this part right over here where it can where your fingers can hook into it a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do now. And what I'm going to use here is, this is just a regular sanding pad, and I took it and I rounded it off here so that it doesn't gouge your material as you're using it. And this is a 150 grit. What I'll do then is this is all done by hand here then. You feel what you want it. And then you feel it, make sure that it has a perfect dish out for your finger here, and it does. And then we're going to dish out this part right here. And the trick, of course, is not to do too much and not do too little either. And that feels pretty good in the hand. So you can hold it like either in the sideways grip or straight up. There's two final steps. One of them is a heavier grip sanding mop, and this is just to take any little pieces here that you can feel with your finger that feel a little bit rough, and this will take those off. And then a finishing mop right here. And we'll go with this. Alright, and that brings out a nice rough sanding, you might say. That's a rough finish. And then this is a sanding mop that I made myself. These are actually fairly easy to make. All you do is just make them from a template. And like what I did here is you just take a couple pieces of light G10 and put them like this, and then you take a sanding belt and you cut it into a lot of strips, and then you layer it up, put this on there, and then you saw into the slots and fold it in half, and there you go. Run a hole through it. That's a 150 grit sheets on this one. This one over here is 100 grit sheets, and this is one you can get from Rockler. And this one right here, of course, like I said, I made it myself. And that's pretty well it. This one's just about ready to go off. It'll just need to be banded up, shot a little bit, and then little tiny pieces right in here where there's little pieces of plastic. I'll take a pair of needle nose pliers and pull those out. Other than that, it's pretty well ready to go off, and that's all there is to it. That's how you make a polymer slingshot. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day.